decisions for themselves.
Okay.
I don't even think I can call it to order. I guess I could. I call this meeting to order. The Windsor Southeast Union School Board meeting. We do not have a quorum, thus we will not be making any votes or decisions of that sort. So that will affect the next thing on the agenda, changes or additions to the agenda. Whenever we come upon something in which we need to vote, we'll skip over it, which is number 3, approval of minutes, which we are skipping over. We're going to go to public participation and announcements. And public comment is not legally required, but we believe it is crucial for us to hear from our community members about their concerns over issues. Through these meetings, our board models for our students how to conduct public discourse, and that the board and members of our community can approach controversial issues in a civil and constructive manner and can demonstrate mutual respect. Having said that, please note that the board is here to listen. The public comment period is not designed for discussion. Please start by identifying yourself and what town you reside in. So are there any public comments? Any announcements?
I have something to say.
Yes.
So I attended the Windsor Middle and High School concert, and it was fantastic. Like, so I just wanted to put that out there. Like, I mean, I've attended a lot of these concerts. This one was like by far the best I've been to. It was so good. The kids were awesome. The music staff was awesome. So just wanted to share that.
Thank you. Albert British, Colin the Goose went home.
Oh, I just saw him last week.
Yes, he's in my house now. He's hanging out with.
How much longer is he going to be in this classroom?
He's hanging out with turkeys and
Oh,
chicks, so he's having a great old time.
good. Very
So,
cute. Very cute.
and they'll be hatching a group of chicks next. It's already starting something. Okay.
Okay.
So exciting. High school survey data.
All right. Let me
So
get my
exciting.
screen up. Yeah, you want to come up? You stand with her?
Or
Come on up.
I'll go over there.
Just so you guys know, I'm not cosplaying or anything.
Okay.
It just makes life
Yeah.
easier.
Should I stand over here then? Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Isabella,
I'm Audrey McFarland.
and we're here on behalf of the Lighthouse Committee. So what is it?
Here we go. The Lighthouse Committee is basically, it's a committee that is formed by a bunch of teacher recommendations for a bunch of different students, which are part of different groups at the high school. So like, I might represent our student council or like our field hockey.
And I might represent like the track team or NHS. We both, however, represent the junior class.
Lighthouse is focused on finding issues that are like inside of our school from students that are feeling a certain way or teachers that are feeling a certain way. And then we try and take those recommendations and work with it to make Windsor an overall better place that supports student success and happiness and community and learning.
So we are led by Mr. Beachy, Mrs. Keeney, and then the Upford on the team. And they've been great. They've been helping us along. So we have some data lineup. This is not all of it, but we did share all the questions that we sent out in the survey. But these are just some of the questions that we thought were good for you guys to think about.
If you were at the teacher in service day that we were there for, I led an activity that was based off of this, and it was a lot of fun, and I got a lot of participation, and everyone was really interested. We had basically like a game going about it, so everyone who was at that meeting would have seen most of this data. Yes.
All right, so first question, I care about making my school a better place. 73% of people said that they do care about making put a school in that place. So keep in mind that not everyone filled out the survey. It's hard to get people who, just either aren't in those forms or just don't really care about filling them out to do it. But the people who did, these are the results. So yeah, 73% said I care about making my school a better place.
So is this 73% out of everyone who took the survey?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah, we couldn't get everyone to take the survey. We tried our best, but high
Oh, you-
schoolers are not super interested in participating in all of the things.
We are, however, bringing more things to our swarm, including surveys to actually get more participation in them, and bring up what Lighthouse is doing so that the students know that their voices through the surveys are actually being heard and it's not just a waste of time. Second question, I'm involved in decisions about what I learn.
Only 21% of the students that took this survey agreed with this statement, which Lighthouse Committee was kind of concerned about that statement. It felt kind of odd to us.
I feel like I belong in my school.
Only 54%, which is higher than past numbers we've seen, but still only half people are saying that, which we as a committee also took into account and also found that slightly concerning.
And for only 20% of those who took it, only 50% of those feel like they belong. Then who knows how the other 80% feel.
In our school, youth and value and respect adults. Super, super low.
Yeah.
Which we as a committee were really concerned about, because if students are taking this survey and they're observing behavior from other students, and they feel like in the school, adults are not being respected by the students, then that's really quite a problem that we should be focusing on.
Teachers want me and my peers to be successful. Higher than I think some of us expected. But definitely not the great. Yeah, especially just 70%.
It's better than previous questions,
Mhm.
but still surprisingly low. Yeah.
Okay, so why did we do this survey? We just wanted to get a feel for how the students are feeling this school year, about, their overall year, but also the environment of the school. As we kind of mentioned, as we were going through the results, we did feel concerned about a lot of them. We wanted to take those issues and then focus on how we can either make those percentages go up or down, depending on the question. And we highlighted something that we worked on, I think it was the last meeting. We highlighted the most concerning versus the least concerning pieces of information. I think one of them was like not enough resources for classes. And we actually got into two separate groups and started really focusing on how we can make it different for them, what resources we have now, how we can make it available for them and just well known. And I mean, considering only 20% took it, I think we got a lot of information that we are currently using to then better the school environment.
We also focused a lot on that data point that you saw about students feeling like adults aren't really respected in the school. We thought that that was a real issue and like really concerning. So we focused a lot on that and tried to really find the root problem behind why students answered it that way. Yeah.
So, what you talking?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Right, one more. Oh, okay. Look at that.
Yes. So why are we sharing this data with you? So we've been putting a lot of work in to improve the issues that the students are bringing up. And we believe that by us strengthening an admin-student relationship, we can then improve the environment of the school. We want to, work closer as a committee with admin, and just make it so that if we get a big concern, we can then come to you guys without feeling like, oh, who knows if they want us to come to you guys. So I thought this was an important data set for you guys to know.
Any questions?
Oh, it's very exciting. How did you create the questions?
There was a team that met over the summer briefly, and I think that they were all just, I personally wasn't a part of that, but since I'm a part of the committee, they were talking about it. I wasn't able to make it, but the upper learning team was working with the other members and just thinking about things that we see in our school and then wondering if other students were seeing the same things.
And you'll do continuing work next year.
Yes.
There's not my question, but
Oh, yes.
Hey, yeah, I was wondering, how did you go about trying to get folks to take the survey? As a teacher myself, I'm wondering, like, is it possible to partner with a particular subject? Like, if every student takes English, could you get like the English teachers on board and say, hey, could you give up 5 minutes of your class time to try to get all students to take it, just to increase student participation? So how did you go about trying to get your peers to take the survey in the first place? And this is awesome, by the way. Thank you so much for presenting to us.
Thank you. So in the beginning, we have a swarm class and it's 30 minutes. And we sent it out to teachers and we said, okay, please have your students who are in your swarm class take the survey. A lot of students don't go to swarms. They either skip or they just don't show up because it's not a core class. They feel that it's just not a necessity. But those who do end up going to the swarm class, we have them do it. I think going forward, it's going to be more on the teachers' end to gather everybody in their swarm and have them do the survey. I mean, I know that that was an issue that we talked about in the past couple meetings on like, okay, I'll do 20%, that's not a lot. So how can we actually get people to participate?
Prizes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's prizes.
Yeah, a major
Good idea.
problem was that students aren't showing up to swarm because there's a bunch of things that happen during swarm times, like meetings, like we have NHS on Mondays and we have yearbook on Tuesdays and student council on Wednesdays and prom committee on Thursdays and Rotary on Fridays. So for us, that's our entire swarm schedule.
Yeah.
So it's a lunch and then a swarm, and then for like 10th graders and seniors, it's swarm and then a lunch. So all of that block is taken up by lunch or meetings.
Mm.
And it's a real problem that we were, like Izzy said, focused on during that time. And teachers also don't see a ton of participation in swarms or need for a swarm since students aren't really going. So it just feels kind of discouraging when their students aren't going, so then they're like, why do I have to make my students go do anything if they're not here?
Are there plans to improve that next year?
We were talking about it as a committee. Yeah. We were really, it's hard because it's supposed to be almost like a class. You're supposed to catch up on work or do ELPs or check grades or send emails to teachers. But it's not like that for every single student. Like I don't need to be doing that for 30 minutes a day. And then other students might need to be going for a walk to take a breather in between classes. You know, each student needs something different. So we're trying to workshop it with Mr. Beachy because he recognizes the problem as well. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Amazing.
For having us.
Back to the track meet.
Okay, let's do a head count.
Okay, let me stop. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
See ya.
So we've got Ethan, Anne Marie, Sarah, Liz, and Bill. 5.
Want to go?
More to go.
Okay, Anne Marie, welcome. We are in a non-voting board meeting. And we're at 5. I'm looking at the screen thinking I'm talking to you. 5. Policy discussion. Let's go over Windsor Southeast D42 school age entrance policy, because this is just a review.
Yeah, I'm happy to share what the ask is. So you all adopted this policy 2 years ago, I think,
2 or 3, yeah.
and what the kindergarten teachers are asking is At the bottom of the policy, the waiver application must be submitted to the principal of the school your child would attend no later than July 1st. They would like you to consider, changing that date to an earlier date so they can include the students in their kindergarten registration so that they can screen them as part of the input for determining whether the student is ready to go to kindergarten or not. So I think they wanted, May 1st, because
So
registration
they
is usually in
need
May.
they need that waiver application
Yes.
by May 1st.
Yes, that's what they would like, so that those students can participate in the screening process. And it's helpful.
The other thing, and I don't know if this is just a Hartford issue, but and I don't know if this is the right policy, but it is school entrance age, is parents holding their kid back from kindergarten so they can get an extra year of tuition to a private school.
Oh,
Typically, the Montessori is the one that pulls that trick quite often. And so Hartford is considering a way to stop that from happening.
okay, well, you have to share that if that
Yeah,
comes to fruition, for sure.
so I don't know if this might be a place to double team looking at that change and,
Mhm. Adding it.
I don't know.
Bill, is that to get the extra 10 hours? What the parent would be obliged for the financial, or is that to get, Vermont's 10 hours or whatever it is at
Yes,
Yeah, so
preschool?
it's basically $4,000.
Got it,
right,
10
got it.
hours for a
Get it.
student who really should be in kindergarten.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
who is eligible for kindergarten.
Yeah,
And because it's not because it's not a required grade,
Right.
yes,
it's sort of a workaround for them.
Yeah.
got it.
Do they
And-
then go into first grade or do they?
A lot of
No,
times they
no,
go in
no.
the first
A
grade,
lot of times they do.
or they stay at the Montessori school and they no longer get tuition.
Right.
Um,
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, yeah, they're hoping, and it's, obviously it's too late for this
mhm.
K registration, but hoping to have that change before next kindergarten registration. So,
Yeah. Well, stick it on the.
Okay.
When we go to
Is
it.
there discussion?
Beth Ann? Am I
Yeah, sorry.
asking that?
Are we discussing this or is it just we'll look at it next time?
We're not discussing it. It's not even on the agenda to consider. It's just, the kindergarten teachers wanted to bring this up to see if we would consider changing it before next, kindergarten registration. So
We'll get
that's
it.
like
Next year.
6,
Okay.
8 months away.
Well,
So-
So right now, we're just seeing that it's there. Got it.
But yeah, I am open to that change and, it makes sense.
we'll chat after about that one.
Hmm?
We'll chat after about that other issue.
Yeah, okay. I don't know if the school policy could actually solve that.
Vermont law don't solve it, I think.
Yeah. But, yeah, okay. Okay. Do we have an HHB policy timeline?
We have,
'Cause I know John wanted that.
Davis wanted that, I believe. Isn't it Davis?
John brought it up.
And
Davis
okay.
supported it.
So what we did was we met, with the same subcommittee. And in the meantime, I had reached out to, legal counsel to find out what we were allowed to adjust in the policy. So legal counsel said at the bare minimum, you need to keep this policy, it's based on law, but you can add to it preventative measures.
Okay.
And then I met with Courtney O'Brien from the Safe and Healthy Schools Division at the AOE. It's a new position there. And she reported that they are working on the revisions to the current policy, and those will be out by the end of May. And they're working on a prevention policy that the new policy that's not adopted yet will nest into. And that will be out in July for focus groups. So, I asked our focus group if, our subcommittee, if they would be interested in being part of a focus group, and they said yes. So what we did was we added some preventative language for now, and then we're gonna wait to see what comes out from the agency in, July. So we're likely gonna have to adopt that policy.
Okay.
So if that makes sense
I
to
mean,
you.
that does make sense. We might as well wait until.
Yeah.
Whatever is.
So we did add a few things that, in yellow in the policy for you to look at.
Okay.
Came right from the input from those impacted families and students, so that's where we're at with that.
Okay.
I have a question. You said, can add preventative measures. Can we also add procedural measures if it's not taking away from?
If it's not taking away, like, yes, the way I understand it is this is the bare minimum that you have to do because it's in statute. So, yes, we could add different things. Okay. Yeah.
And in many ways, the procedural changes can be more impactful than
Yeah.
policy changes.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay.
I will put that one back on. I mean, we're gonna have a new policy to look at and adopt probably by the,
Okay.
I say June, but probably by the fall. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Administrative report.
Right. Share the screen. So. All right, just, always want to ground us in our goals, our strategic plan goals, student success and engagement, and, culture and student wellness. So I have some photos today of, there was a performance at Windsor High School, this past, last Saturday, I think it was, last Friday or Saturday one. I'm gonna forget the name of it right now, but it was something about, in 99 minutes or less, Iliad, the Odyssey. In 9 minutes or less. It was really, it was really good. It was humorous, and, the students did an amazing job. So, that's in the upper corner, and that's, middle school also had a show this month. It was about middle school situations, which was funny as well. And then just students engaged in learning in different ways in their classrooms across the SU. That one's at Albert Bridge. They had to figure out the volume of the classroom. So they were measuring, they had Kleenex boxes, and they were gonna figure out how many Kleenex boxes it was gonna take to fill the whole room. So I didn't stay for that outcome, but they were totally into it when I left. And then, around our culture, this is our graduating support staff mentor group from this year with their mentees. And that is a program that was started by the support staff, and we're in our first year of funding it, in our budget. And just the feedback from the mentees that afternoon, they had a celebration pizza and dessert. They were just very thankful to have somebody to go to questions and when they didn't understand something. So that was, it was great to participate and, hear the positive comments about the program. And then that is 2 first graders at Heartland right there. And their teacher was out that day and I happened to be visiting. And honestly, they said to me that they didn't even need a substitute in the classroom because they could handle it on their own. Which was adorable. And the kids were all doing what they were supposed to, and it was just great. So we have to highlight them. Okay, just gonna share out our spring conference data. So these are the numbers. Typically our elementary conference data percentages are higher, and that is true this time around as well. So Windsor Elementary at 83%, Windsor Middle at 62%, and Mr. Shamp did say that those students that didn't have somebody come, they were presenting their student leadership portfolios or PLPs to another adult in the building. High school, 68%, Weathersfield, 96% at the elementary and 64% at the middle. And then Heartland was at 79.4% 4% total. He didn't break it out for me. And Albert Bridge at 96%. So pretty decent numbers for the spring. Usually our fall numbers are a lot higher. So that's how we did for conferences. Okay, so this is some information that we've been talking about as an administrative team based on faculty input. So when we transitioned to proficiency graduation requirements, we did it in a phased implementation, and that was to ensure faculty and students could adapt to a higher level of academic accountability. And that was done prior to me. And then the plan was to ratchet it up. And then we had a pandemic, and then we didn't, to be honest with you. So we're trying to realign our minimum baseline of excellence, what we expect from students. So this is why it's the rationale, increasing the proficiency score required to pass a standard directly supports our continuous improvement goals for academic outcomes. Our teaching staff has consistently identified these threshold adjustments as a critical step in providing clear high-level expectations for student work. And a higher proficiency floor ensures that our graduates are truly prepared for college career and tech ed. So here's what we're proposing. Sorry, I'm scrolling through the wrong computer. So I'll just share that with you. Here's what we're proposing. So pre-pandemic at the middle level, 2.0 was passing, in quotes, I say passing, proficient. Currently, we're still at 2.0. We want to, in high school was at 2.25. They're currently at 2.25. We want to increase them both to 2.5. So a student, that would be the student must achieve a minimum level of partial proficiency to earn a credit in the course, essentially. I wanted to share that with you before we share that with staff and the community and students. I mean, 2.0 is too low. Sorry, I just think that's too low. So we want to up their expectations in the rigor. So 2.5, still not proficient. 3 is proficient, but it's partially proficient. And if you explain it.
Yeah, there's a number of standards. There might be some that you're at 3.5 and others that you're below that. So it's technically, it's an average of your standards, which is a horrible thing to do anyway, but we do it. But that's basically where it's at, is that is in one area, let's say writing in an ELA class, someone could be at a, 3.2, whereas vocabulary, reading comprehension, whatever, it could be lower, but overall, our expectation at least should be at a 2.5. Now, that being said, we have assessments that are considered portfolio pieces, and they are the most important. They're based on the performance indicators, and those assessments must be a 3.0. So it's really hard for a student, since those are the major pieces, not to have at least a 2.5, given that a lot of the grading comes from those major assessment pieces. So that's basically a summary.
Any questions about that?
I have a lot of questions. I don't want to bog down the meeting, but I've just been trying to understand the system, both as a parent and now as board member, because it seems, as a parent, I see it almost feels arbitrary sometimes. Like, some of my kids' work, like sometimes they'll get like a 4 in one area, and then the next assignment they get a 1 in the same area, and then the next one they get like a 4, but it's the same skill. So I'm just, or like different classes, like it just seems kind of like all over the
The same
place.
teacher or different teachers?
Sometimes the same teacher, sometimes a different teacher. It's just like I feel like the expectations are really confusing. So like
So what I would ask for is, for every, like an assignment, there should be a rubric in there, that's attached to the assignment. And so let's say that a student did a lab in science class. As a parent, and you're feeling like, I don't get where this is coming from, I would ask the teacher for either a scoring guide or a rubric, so you can understand where they fell on that and what perhaps was missing. An example might be an essay that there's no quotations or evidence from the text. So great thoughts, but they're at a to 0.25 because they covered it, but without any text evidence. So I would straight out ask when that happens. Hopefully the students are seeing that in advance, so they know exactly why it fell short of a 3 or above. So that's some basic, hopefully it helps. But if anytime you feel confused like that, I would reach right out to the teacher and just say, I'm feeling this is arbitrary, where's it coming from? So, and, yeah. Does that make sense, Christine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as a parent, I understand where you're coming from
Right.
because, and we all are aware of this, and I brought it up in the past, there's a great need for an overhaul of all the standards. At one point, it was decided to put all the standards into our school instead of looking at what is an important standard that you should be grading. For example, writing is a standard that should be graded. The indicators are what a teacher would look at to see what that writing score would be. You shouldn't be scoring indicators as summative. The end result of the writing piece is a whole grade. And so there is a great need for just a complete overhaul. And I think that ties in really nicely with what the state is doing, of creating uniform standards. And once they're done, those uniform standards could be put in the power school. Training can be done on how, so the teachers then know not to score formative assessment in the classroom and be scoring really well thought out assessments, which is one of the most difficult skills to do as a teacher, creating really well thought out, balanced assessments. And so it's a long process.
It is, and just so I feel like we have indicators that are based on what the state's gonna use called anchor standards.
Yeah.
And they're all aligned in the matrix. But you're right, we don't score the indicators. Well, we do, we score it based on a scoring guide that Vermont has developed in each of the areas. So again, those are out there. So if you're ever confused, ask for the scoring guide or the rubric. Vermont's using them with their anchor standards. I think that's what's gonna end up being adopted. So, now revisiting that and really looking at that as faculty is always incredibly good work.
And that's more at the high school level
Yep,
for us,
yep.
not the middle.
Yeah, no,
So-
we've just started
Right.
at the middle level.
Yeah.
That will continue,
And
just
so when the
started.
teachers get together,
Yep.
calibrate themselves,
Correct.
and then
Correct.
create benchmark pieces.
Yep.
So
Yep.
what does it look like
Yep, I love
for a
that.
seventh grader
Yeah.
to show creative problem solving?
Right.
Or what does it look like for a eighth graders to meet the standards in a written piece?
Yeah.
And so those benchmarks that you can go, anything below this doesn't reach the standards, anything that's better than this, or it's at least as good, meets the standard. And it takes tons of work.
And it's good work though.
Good work, yeah.
It's very good work.
I still have more questions. I'm sorry.
No, go
Are
ahead.
there plans to communicate this to parents?
This change?
Just,
Yes.
once it's really working as Bill describes, is there plans to help parents understand it?
It's like a grading.
So we've done this at the high school level, spent 2 years working on it using the indicators and now what Vermont will call anchor standards in the scoring guide. And it always can be revisited, especially student pieces and calibrating. I think it's huge work. The middle school has just started to tie the indicators and the anchor standards into their assessment pieces. It has not gone beyond that point. That'll be a next year thing to continue looking at. So, and yes, most importantly, parents knew about the change at the high school level, but we're really not at that point yet to, communicate, but when we do, it's an important piece. Yeah. So, great point.
Yeah, just a little bit more, just because a lot of people ask these questions, and if someone's watching this meeting, they might want answers. So when we're talking about 2.0, 3.0, how does that translate in comparison to the schools that still have, A, B, C, D grades? And what does it look like in college?
Well, what does it look like for school who does A, B, C, D?
I mean, in
Just means that
comparison-
this SU is doing what they're supposed to. That's what the legislature have decided.
I mean, like,
direction that it
does
goes.
like a 4.0, it's like,
It shouldn't
Does it
translate.
read
It should,
as
it shouldn't translate.
But we
to A.
do. But we
But
do. On the transcripts,
on
we
the
change
backside
it
it does,
before it
yeah.
goes to, out to colleges
Yes.
to a 100-point system, just so you know. So transcripts
okay,
will have the 4.0, but the overall grade point average, and colleges are so used to schools that grade 4.0 scale. They're super used to it if they're not obviously doing it themselves. But, we do on the transcript give the, percentage equivalent that goes off to colleges. So they'll know the GPA and those things.
so our students that are proficient out of 3, they get a B?
I would say that's probably a good, I can give you the whole scale, you can look it up, but I would say that that's pretty close
Pretty
to
close.
reality. I know the 4s are in the 4.0 is in 97 to 100.
How common are 4s?
I don't know.
But the fact is, they're not supposed to translate.
They're
Correct.
not.
They're not supposed
Right.
to.
But they are, so I mean,
But-
it sounds
but
like they
A
are.
lot of
for
people do
colleges.
it and they do expect it. It's that transition. See, standard grading, or proficiently based grading is looking at what the kids can do. What level are they performing at in fundamental skills? ABC conventional grading is grading that is not based on any sort of, it's the work that they do, not how good it is.
Right,
And so,
so that's gonna be one of my other questions, but my question on this is, does that mean we're like shortchanging kids who might, in a traditional grading system, be getting an A, but now they're getting a B according to college because they're
No.
proficient?
yeah, no.
Like, I'm just wondering how common it is to, like, how many kids are getting?
There are
Fours.
states across the country that only have proficiency based grading. Because the legislature decided this. State of Vermont basically said, this is what we're supposed to be doing, but
Mhm.
they didn't develop anything, and they're just
People are all over the
starting
place.
developing it now to make a standardized system. And so it is, most people expect all schools to be grading this way in the state of Vermont within the next 10 years.
We have a significant number of kids that make honors and high honors. And so that would be children that earn 3.0 and or better in all of their classes, or 3.5 or better. And so that now you're in the group of students that are having A averages across the board. So,
Yeah, I'm just.
and there's
trying to
4.0, kids get 4.0s in classes. But yeah, so, no, they're all good, very good questions, especially if we're thinking about college. So,
Okay, thank you.
no worries.
Couple legislative updates. Heard today that the chronic absenteeism, bill is on the governor's desk for his signature. And what the law does, it defines excused and unexcused absences, chronic absenteeism, and truancy. Clarifies that unexcused absences apply only to truancy, not chronic absenteeism. Requires the agency to develop a model school board policy on this. I heard they have a draft, but they're not sharing it yet. Requires the AOE to develop accompanying model procedures. Updates current truancy law. So
excited.
I know, right? So
This is
that,
what I sent to Elizabeth to propose.
so that is happening, headed to the governor's desk. 955, that's the transformation bill. So basically what I've heard and seen the side by side, the House and Senate versions are pretty similar. We thought the Senate might do a lot of strike throughs, but that didn't actually come to fruition. But they both create CSAs, those are cooperative education service agencies that have to meet within 45 days of passage of the act, which at a minimum must provide special education services, business and administrative services, professional development, curriculum coordination, transportation, facilities, master planning. So we'll see what that looks like. Requires merger study committees to be implemented across various regions, and within the bill, it defines those regions. And there's some language for the foundation formula moving to 2030. There's some other smaller things, but I didn't put them on the slide.
Beth Ann, you have a quick question?
Yeah, super quick. Is CISA's different from BOCES?
No, just a different
Okay.
name, same thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I don't know why they do this to us, but they do.
They do.
So,
Yeah.
Acronyms.
yeah, acronyms. The other one to watch is the yield bill, because the Senate Finance incorporated the language of S-220 into the bill before voting it out of committee. It is, I can't remember where it is right now, but basically it proposes a change to the excess spending threshold from 118 to 112. And I don't know, slide again, sorry guys. And that's what this looks like in our SU. And I've shared this at the Weathersfield board meeting and the Heartland board meeting. I didn't have it for the Montescutney, I don't believe, but it would require reductions to our 3 local budgets, pretty significant reductions. So we are also keeping an eye on that. And I'll report out as soon as I hear anything. Just update you, it's a busy time of year. Only 4 weeks of school, I think. We're in our, 4 weeks. So we are, STAR and DIBELS assessments are underway this week. And next week, I believe,
They'll be
done by Friday. We did do a middle level culture survey, and I'm going to bring you those results next month. So I'll put them in my report. We are well underway with hiring. I think we have 1 special ed position to fill, 2 interventionists that are title. We're kind of waiting for funding before we've been interviewing.
Funding looks good.
Yeah, funding does look good.
Temporarily, it's fine.
I think 1 SEI, and I think I saw an OT position today. So we're in good shape in terms of hiring. Our professional development planning is well underway for next year. We've got a team working on that. And
What's the plan with ELL?
so at this point, for ELO.
Oh, so we have
We're at 0.3, right?
We have it can be contracted services at this point in time.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But you had mentioned at a meeting that we might be able to work with Hartford with their ELO. Did you
Well,
say
I
that?
would just reach out
Okay.
because
I
they
would
may
love that.
actually,
Okay.
they may actually need to hire another person.
Okay.
Or,
Okay.
You want to?
Who would I contact for that? Bill?
Lisa Burton or
Okay.
Amy,
Want to jot that down, Christine?
Yeah, I'm writing it down. Lisa Burton and Amy.
D'Amato, DEMATTEO.
Okay, this just sounds very familiar. I must know
Yeah.
her. Okay, and lastly for me, our retreat is in August, but I will be sending you the board survey in June and July. I'll remind you to take it, so just be looking for that in your email. And I will turn it over to Larry, who is next. Larry, are you sharing?
Yeah.
Your presentation, okay.
Okay. So this is my annual report to the SU. And pretty much everything non-academic is finance and operations. And you can see some of the numbers there. It's a lot of square footage and acreage and a lot of network devices. We're talking about stuff in the hundreds of thousands and $57 million of budget capacity and 100,000 miles annually with transportation. Human resources, you can see some of the accomplishments this year. We are trying to improve our processes and systems for benefits and licensing tracking. And we have done that. Our new HR director, Jordan Sargent, has done a great job since we promoted her this fall. After looking into, some of you may remember, some people weren't on the board yet, but we looked at outsourcing payroll and what that would look like, and we decided to keep it in-house. And she's done a great job. This is a picture from the first in-service of the year, where I think we're in our third year of the employee recognition program, where after, so many years, we give them a little keepsake for the SU. Buildings and grounds, same thing. We have a ticketing system that's a little differently. It's more over email, and a facilities request system, which has a two-step approval process. Required by district quality standards, we have to have a maintenance manual. That's actually, the template from the state is very involved. So I'm working with Jim on that. We hope to have that done before the end of the fiscal year. And then once we picked Windsor to start, because Windsor is by far the biggest building. And once we should be able to knock out the other schools much quicker once we have that template. IT services, they've done a great job. We've leveraged category 2 from E-rate funding, saving over $70,000 to upgrade all the switches across the SU. So we are moving the network core to the Windsor House. That is happening as I speak. We're in different parts of it. So we're taking it out of Windsor School and putting it right into the IT services bullpen, which is the former BPR studios here up on the 3rd floor. Ryan has developed many PowerSchool plugins in-house, and he's cut his state data collection time by a third. And you can see the ticketing system. Those tickets are through today. So we'll probably end up around, I assume, the 2,800-ish, 2,900 range to end the year. And that is with their manning has gone down since 2022. And we'll speak to that a little later. So even with their staff being reduced, they've been able to keep serving our students and faculty and staff very well. You can see the statistics, average resolution time of almost a little under 5 hours, and average first response time under 4 hours. Food service, Ian is entering, this is his second year here. He's done a great job. And you can see, I'm not going to read it to you, but you can see everything that he has done. The two big things I'd point out are the fresh fruits and veggie program, which is, again, good for students and adults. And we should all eat more fresh fruits and vegetables. And, but we get money back for that. Similar to the local food incentive grant. For the last 2 years, we've been on the highest award tier. Prior to that, we were at the 15% tier, and now we're at 25%. And that gives our district with additional 25 cents per lunch. And when you serve 106,000 lunches, that's real money. And that's because 25% of our food comes local from Vermont. Business services, all fiscal year 27 budgets adopted and passed. Weathersfield took a revote, over 1,000 purchasing requests. Our fiscal year 25 audits came back in the fall without any findings. So no findings since fiscal year 20 at our SU. And over 4,000 invoices processed by accounts payable, which we loving to refer to as AP because we like our acronyms as well. And not only that, these are the state and federal mandated reporting we are required to do. And I like to put this out every year. It's also in the budget book because there's a lot of things that happen in these halls that aren't, an accounts payable person may never run into a teacher throughout a school year, but there's a lot of things that come down from Montpelier and from Washington that we're required to do and takes time. And I think it's just important that the board understands paperwork. It may not be literal paperwork nowadays, but there's a lot of it. And this is just an example of things that this is the business office alone and a little bit of IT stuff you see with the DC-04s, which Bill knows well, and Harvest, which is food service. But most of that is a business office.
They required us to do a spring this year, didn't we?
Yeah.
So there are some organization developments at the business office, we'd like to inform the board about. And it's all kind of happened step by step and planned out and thoughtful. And, and now's the time to show the board. So we are going to reduce an FTE, and here's how we're going to get there. We had a resignation, which Kylie Taft has been here for over 5 years. She has resigned effective June 30th. We wish her well. Prior to her resignation, we split off procurement, which is purchasing, to Brooke, and we posted a position for accounts payable payroll. That position's been posted for 2 or 3 weeks. We've had 2 qualified candidates, both did very well in the interviews. We had one person who did a slightly better, and we are very excited to announce Paige Jett will be starting June 1st. So there'll be a slight overlap with Kylie for Paige. She's currently the bank ops manager at Mascoma Savings Bank in Claremont. She has a business degree from LaSalle. We're very excited. And as anybody who knows me, when we open a position, we do several interviews. We don't just do one interview. So I think she went through 3 interviews with the business office staff, myself, Christine, which I guess would technically be a 4th. So we're very excited to welcome Paige June 1st. Separately, but related, Gail McCoy has announced her retirement in the fall. She has served the SU for 23 years, and we're very sad to see her go. We will assign one entity of AP to Samantha, who is our current payroll person. So we will have a little bit of cross-training. We currently have cross-training with payroll in-house because our director of HR, Jordan Sargent, was formerly our payroll person before we hired Samantha. So that's our cross-training there. This will provide us cross-training in AP when Gail leaves in the fall. In order to provide efficient oversight while maintaining our existing controls that have helped us so much in the auditing process, we are not going to fill the AP coordinator position. We are going to let it lapse through attrition. And Jordan Sargent will be the director of HR and business services, while Deanna Kroll will continue as our controller. Here's what that will look like effective July 1. This will allow us to move forward in, I think, an efficient manner and drop an FTE. We are cognizant, especially in the business office, about as you go through and you saw the parade of horrors from Christine's slides about S220 and what that would mean in cutting. And I know that there was 4 positions reduced in the FY27 budget at Mount Scutney. That's important that we look out when there's a retirement or a position open after a resignation, that you just look at the whole system and you don't what I call panic hire, and you step back and you look at what's the best way to use our current personnel, like you would if you were a coach, and where do you put the best people in the best spot to perform well and for the team and individually. And that's what I think this organization reorganization will do. You'll notice one thing missing under my auspices on the right there, buildings and grounds effective July 1, Jim Taft will be under Christine, which is very similar to how it works now. Because we're down an FTE in the business office, more of my time will need to be in the business office.
And Jim and I
Work very closely
already, so it should be just fine. And Larry's still gonna do the RFPs and the 5-year maintenance.
I'm still
plans.
gonna do everything that I do currently with buildings and grounds. I just won't be supervising Jim or the buildings and grounds organization generally. So since I came on board as Director of Finance and Ops in FY22, and what we're planning for in FY28, you can see we're down 2 positions at the business office, 1 position in IT services, for a total of about 25% of our staffing. We've been able to reduce without, I believe, any lack of service to the boards, the central office, the citizens, the faculty and staff. We have great people working in those 2 departments. And by doing that, we've been able, I think, to hold the line on spending. And I think, as we build out the FY 28 budget, I think it's important that, again, the board and that the public is aware at the SU, there are two major parts of the SU budget. It's special education and it's administration and ops. And at least with what we can control down here, we're trying to cut costs where we can. That makes sense for us.
So I'm assuming the next meeting we'll vote on that hiring piece for the SU office, do we?
Well, they're not, union positions.
They're at will.
Will.
Okay,
So technically you don't have to, but we'd love your blessing, obviously.
She'll be here June 1st, and we would love for you to vote on that and accept Jordan's resignation with regret
Well,
at the
they
next
can't
meeting.
Tonight.
I know they can't tonight. Well, they can speak to it, but they can't
Right,
take a motion.
yeah, but
Um,
technically it's not necessary.
okay.
Strategic initiatives, things that we're, want to bring to the boards, and administration moving forward. There are some things we're going to be doing. I mentioned the network core upgrade already. We're going to finish that this spring. There's currently an Albert Bridge roof RFP, which I know we've talked about with Mount Scutney for many years. We've been holding that off because of PCB testing. Two things. It looks like schools are going to be off the hook going forward for PCB testing at the end of the session. Separately, Jim thinks we can't hold off on one more year.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that. It's already an RFP. The RFP is due this Friday. We expect at least one bid to that RFP, hopefully more than one. And we want to do that this summer. As you look forward to the summer, you can see that. We're going to roll out P cards. What are P cards? They essentially are credit cards, but they call them purchasing cards because there's a lot more control for the business office. So for example, I can put a per transaction limit. I can shut a card down. We can tie cards to particular GL codes. So when Christine has a card, and she swipes it, and she saves the receipt, it'll go without any other input from the business office. It will be reduced when we run the report out of her GL superintendent supply line, for example. So there's a lot of benefits to that. Also, no interest. Summer 2026, we want to finish those networking upgrades at $70,000. We've leveraged grant money from E-rate. We will hopefully finish the Albert Bridge roof project. That's the goal. I'll be putting out some new financial reporting system that I'm currently working on. We hope to have that for Q4, which will be the summer of 26. Other things, and then before you know it, the fall will be here, and while everybody is welcoming the students back, I will be working on the FY 28 budget. We'll be reviewing capital plans, and then my goal is to roll out P cards to the local schools. Christine and I are working out the best way for that to work, to provide ease for teachers, and it's a request that the association has had from us for years, and we want to give it to them, but we also want to do it in a way that doesn't drive my business office, which will be down in FTE, insane. We'll also be upgrading the security camera system, upgrading in the sense that not necessarily the number of days it's kept, but the VMware. This is all back-end stuff. It probably won't make a difference to the principals who access the cameras. We want to thank you as a butterfly goes in the air.
Oh, who's that lovely lady?
And that is a kindergarten teacher at Windsor, Miss Angie.
Who's Angie?
If there's any questions or discussion,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, you were
Thank you.
mentioned that card system
Yes,
at one point. Yeah.
now we're moving forward.
He's testing it out.
We've ordered the first two cards. That was on one of the slides, and it'll be going out to Christine and IT first, and then we'll see how it goes.
For the guinea pigs.
They're the guinea pigs.
Okay. There are no motions for discussion, besides the fact we could make a motion anyway. Next agenda.
Next agenda, we know we'll have one resignation.
And
Yes, that meeting is June. It starts at the end of June, but it'll be working, so just.
They can just make a motion if they want to, or it could be an item for discussion.
So we've got, June 22nd. I've got a report. Special ed has an end of year report,
Mhm.
which will include number of Rule 4500s, the number of staff trained in restraint and seclusion and spec policy. Works out on transportation as well. And then Bridget, curriculum director, will report out on our spring data. And, continuous improvement plan will come back. Our continuous improvement plans
Will be approved
in
in
September.
August or September. They're due up on the website by the
Yeah.
30th. So, yeah, and we want to use the spring data, which we didn't do last year.
So that's the
I
plan.
think
It could
it's-
change.
yeah.
Tell me to put something on there as well,
I think the
obviously.
important thing to point out is we'll have to be concise as we get new stuff and along with all the stuff we needed to pass today.
Okay, so short.
I'm always concise.
Yes.
Short reports.
Sure.
No, not short.
Concise.
Concise.
Yes, report.
Concise.
You got
A
it.
euphemism.
I think we've gotten better at that.
You guys have,
Okay,
but it doesn't mean I'm not gonna keep bringing it up.
Yep.
Okay, I think I'm doing my wrong glasses.
No.
And there will be no executive session, and we will just say good night.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, we can't make a motion.
We can make a motion to close the meeting.
Right.
I will close the meeting. So thank you, everybody who came.
Bye, Tracy. All right, leaving the phone.
Erica
Are we
Ronstadt
Shut that